I've gone back and forth on posting this, but I need to get it out of my system before I lose my mind. This happened during my sophomore year at the University of Oregon. I was an English major, hyper-focused on getting into law school, so I took my GPA seriously. Last fall, I enrolled in a small seminar on Gothic literature, maybe 25 kids. The professor was a ghost, but the TA, Mr. Holloway, ran the discussions. Holloway was in his late 20s, lanky, with that "I play bass in a band that isn't going anywhere" vibe. He was awkward, the kind of guy who stared a second too long. Participation was dead, so he'd cold call people. It was brutal. Then there was Derek. He was tall, brown hair, and in one of the top frats on campus. He was the only one who could crack a joke to break the tension without being annoying. He actually did the reading. I thought he was smart, goofy, and harmless. Since I needed the participation points, it was usually just me, Derek, and two other kids carrying the dead weight. Holloway started to notice me. For my first essay on Poe, he wrote these long, validating comments in the margins. I was flattered. But then the eye contact got longer. The questions got more personal. I brushed it off. Around the same time, Derek and I started running into each other at mixers. Greek life is whatever, but our houses overlapped a lot. He was sweet, uncomplicated. We went on a few dates, started sleeping together. It was low maintenance and nice. One afternoon, I saw Derek behind the lecture hall sharing a cigarette with Holloway. I didn't even know Derek smoked. When I asked about it, he laughed it off. "Just trying to get on the TA's good side," he said. "Pathetic? Maybe, but I'll take pathetic over a bad grade." Weeks later, I was in Derek's apartment. His phone was lying on the bed, playing a YouTube video. Curiosity killed the cat, right? I went through his phone. I wasn't expecting much, but I found a folder of photos of me. Study photos, walking to class, and others, suggestive ones. Some I had sent him, many I had never taken. I was creeped out, but I didn't confront him. A week later, I snuck into his phone again. His password was his birthday reversed. This time, I checked his deleted messages. My stomach dropped. He was sending those photos, the suggestive ones, to an unsaved number, regularly, for weeks. I slapped him awake. He stammered, "It's just a backup phone, I swear." I knew it was bullshit. I stormed out. The police got involved. The unsaved number was Holloway's. Derek confessed he was getting paid hundreds of dollars for the content. It had been going on since the start of the semester. Derek was expelled. Holloway was fired and jailed. That was a year ago. I thought it was over. I moved into the sorority house a few months ago. But now, there's a black SUV. It parks across the street late at night. Just sits there, engine off. I haven't seen anyone get in or out. I don't know if it's one of them. Probably paranoia, right? But it's really freaking me out. My name is Ethan. I'm 22, and I live with my parents in the middle of the Colorado Rockies. Not the touristy part, the actual woods. Snows 9 months out of the year. Closest neighbor is a 15-minute drive. 2 weeks ago, my parents flew to a wedding in Europe. I had the house to myself for the weekend. Standard 3-bedroom cabin. My room is at the end of the hall, parents at the other end. The first night was quiet. The second night, everything changed. I went to bed around 2 a.m. I woke up abruptly in the dead of night. My body was frozen. My closet door, the sliding one I always close, was wide open. My heart started pounding. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. I screamed. There were 2 figures standing at the foot of my bed. Just standing. Before I could make out faces, they scattered. They moved unnervingly fast, like they knew exactly how to dodge the light. I heard something heavy hit the floor. I started shouting, pure panic. They bolted down the hall. I heard the front door slam. By the time I got to the living room, they were gone. Gone into the snowy forest. I locked my door and called 911. While waiting, I turned the light on. On the floor, where the clatter had come from, was my dad's hunting knife. They were standing over me with a knife while I slept. Cops showed up in 20 minutes. No forced entry. Every window was locked. The officer shrugged and said, "You must have forgotten to lock the front door." I accepted that, but I know I locked it. My parents came home the next day. I got a lecture about locking up, but I'm stuck on the why. Why stand over me with a knife and not rob the place? This wasn't a robbery. This was personal. And I keep wondering, how did they know I was alone? How did they get in? I'm Sarah. 3 months ago, I moved into my first solo apartment in Austin. It was a one-bedroom, second floor, facing a parking lot and a patch of trees. I work remote, so I'm home a lot. I broke up with my ex, Mark, right before I moved. It was a clean break. At least I thought it was. The first week was fine, but then I started seeing a guy in a green hoodie, late 30s, nondescript. I saw him in the stairwell, by the dumpsters, always just there. I told myself it was just apartment complex math. Then I started seeing a dark green pickup truck in the lot, always parked in the spot facing my window. I'd glance out, and someone would be sitting in the driver's seat, looking up. It escalated when I went to Chipotle, 15 minutes away, totally out of my neighborhood. I was eating alone, scrolling through my phone. I looked up, and he was sitting across the restaurant. Same green hoodie, eating a burrito bowl. When I got up to leave, he packed up his tray too. I sped home, taking a convoluted route. I didn't see him follow, but he knows where I live. I called the police. They were polite, but they told me they can't do anything unless he commits a crime. Document it, they said. Take pictures. For a week, nothing. I relaxed. Then I woke up one morning and found a piece of paper slipped under my door. Handwritten. It said, "You really should close your blinds at night." I moved out of that apartment within a fortnight, paid the penalty, and crashed at my parents' place in the suburbs. I was safe, or so I thought. A month later, I was driving back from a new gym, near my parents' house. I turned a corner 2 blocks from my childhood home. Parked on that random side street, engine running, was that same dark green pickup truck. He followed me. He didn't just know my old apartment. He found my parents' house. My dad is keeping an eye out. We're getting cameras. But it's been 2 weeks, and that truck hasn't appeared again. Part of me wants to believe it's a coincidence, that my brain is broken. But I know what I saw. I don't know how he found me, but I know he's out there. If anything else happens, I'll update. Hopefully, I won't have to.